Hey there. So, has you ever listened to your kids or grandkids talk about their dating lives and felt like you needed a translator? Or maybe you've dipped a toe back into the dating world yourself and found that, wow, the language has definitely changed. Well, today, we're going to decode all of it. We're breaking down the most common relationship slang you'll hear so you can feel totally in the loop. Let's jump.
Does this feel a little too real? You hear words like gaslighting or ghosting thrown around, and you're just nodding along, but you're thinking, what on earth does that actually mean? Trust me, you are not alone in feeling this way. But the good news is, it's way less complicated than it sounds.
And this, right here, is the key to all of this. We're not talking about brand new human behaviors that has popped up out of nowhere. No, these are the same old relationship dynamics that have been around forever. We just have new, kind of catchy names for them now. Okay, so let's get into it, starting with the two biggest terms you're going to hear. You hear these two all the time, but really understanding what they mean is so important because there are way more than just trendy slang. First up is gaslighting. Now, this is not just a simple disagreement. It's a very specific and, honestly, a very sneaky kind of manipulation. It's when someone deliberately and repeatedly tries to make you feel like you're the one who's crazy, not them. So what does this actually sound like in real life? Well, you might bring up something hurtful they said, and instead of talking about it, they hit you with one of these lines. They deny reality with so much conviction that you actually start to wonder, maybe I did imagine that. Maybe I am just too sensitive.
And that is the whole point. The bottom line with gaslighting is that it's all about control. It's a tactic meant to wear down your confidence in your own mind, making you rely on their version of events instead of your own. It's a huge, huge red flag. All right, next up, narcissism. You know, back in the day, we might have just called someone conceited or full of themselves, but this term today goes a lot deeper. It's about a person who has an almost complete inability to feel empathy for others, who needs constant praise, and who genuinely believes the rules don't apply to them. And being around this can feel like whiplash. For instance, the conversation always finds its way back to them. They can be the most charming person in the world when they're trying to win you over, but the second you disagree or say no to something, that charm vanishes and it gets cold, fast. So here's the tough truth, the most important thing to remember. In a relationship with a true narcissist, it's not really about you. Your role is to be a mirror, reflecting back to them how wonderful they are. It's not about connection, it's about their supply of admiration. So, to put it simply, gaslighting is the tactic used to make you doubt what you know. Narcissism is the personality that believes their reality is the only one that counts. And, very often, a narcissist will use gaslighting as their favorite tool to keep you in their world. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Now we're going to look at some terms that describe specific dating behaviors. Think of these as the new vocabulary for some very, very old games. First one, ghosting. This is pretty much just disappearing. You've been out a few times, you're texting, things seem to be going fine, and then poof, they're gone. No call, no text, no explanation, just complete radio silence. Now, your first instinct is probably going to be to wonder, what did I do wrong? Please don't go down that rabbit hole. Ghosting says everything about their lack of courage and respect, and nothing about you. The absolute best thing you can do? Acknowledge it was rude, delete their number, and keep it moving. Next is a really tricky one called love bombing. It sounds amazing, right? Who doesn't want to be showered with love? But this is actually a major warning sign, and it's a classic move by the narcissists we just talked about. It's all about too much, too fast, and way too soon. I mean, just look at how fast this all happens. It's an absolute whirlwind. On the first date, they're telling you you're their soulmate. By the end of the week, they're planning your future together. It feels incredibly flattering, which is exactly why it's so effective and so dangerous. So what's the catch? It's a trap. The whole point of love bombing is to get you hooked and emotionally invested so quickly that you overlook all the other red flags. Just remember, real, lasting love is a slow burn. It builds over time. It's not a fireworks explosion on day one. And our last one in this section is breadcrumbing. The name says it all. You know, like Hansel and Gretel leaving a trail of breadcrumbs? That's what this is. Someone is leading you on by leaving you tiny little morsels of attention, just enough to keep you interested. And it's this maddening little cycle, right? Just when you're ready to move on, your phone buzzes with a, "Hey you" text. You get your hopes up, you suggest getting together, and suddenly they're swamped. Then it's silence for a while until they drop the next crumb. They're just keeping you on the hook.
And that's exactly what this comes down to. It's about recognizing when someone is only giving you their leftover scraps of attention. You are nobody's backup plan. So please take this to heart. You deserve the whole loaf, not just the crumbs.
So after going through all these new terms, you might be thinking, okay, great, but why does any of this really matter? Well, it matters because this is about so much more than just sounding current. It's about turning these words into wisdom. Think of it this way. Knowing these terms gives you a superpower. When you can put a name to a behavior, it's not just a vague, uneasy feeling anymore. You can see it clearly and say, wait a second, that's breadcrumbing me, or that's gaslighting. And that clarity, it gives you the confidence to trust yourself and the strength to walk away. So the biggest takeaway from all of this is that this new language is really a tool for protecting your heart. At the end of the day, always, always trust your gut. If a situation feels off, it probably is. And don't you ever let anyone's games make you doubt for 1 second that you are an absolute catch. And that's the question I want to leave you with. Because knowing the words is one thing, but the real power comes from deciding what you're going to do with that knowledge. Now that you can name it, what will you do about it? Thanks so much for joining me.